Not only can she write a book that Disney would turn into a movie, but she can say all the names of the 50 states alphabetically in 30 seconds. Listen on why I had to ask Meg Cabot. Hi, I'm Lillian, and I'm with Miss Meg Cabot at the South Carolina Book Festival. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is very exciting.
So you wrote some books that were made into Disney movies. What was this like?
It was very exciting, except I have to admit that I was really shocked when I got the phone call that it was happening, because I was still working my regular job, and I got the call at work, and they said, your movie or your book has been optioned to be made into a movie by Disney, and it's going to star Julie Andrews and Anne Hathaway, and Gary Marshall's going to direct it, and I actually thought it was one of my friends playing a joke, so it took a long time for it to sink in.
What was the process that you had to go through to have it made into a movie?
Well, actually, the books were rejected by a lot of publishers. The first book, the Princess Diaries series, and so the movie got optioned before the book actually got published. So that's kind of why I thought it was a joke when they first called. And so I just kept hearing from the producers about things that they were going to change about the movie that wasn't in the book. Like in the movie, the father is dead. In the book, he's still alive. So when they kept calling and saying, we're sorry, we have to kill the dad in the movie, is that okay? I was like, well, why are you going to do that? It's kind of harsh. And they said, well, it's because there's an actress that we want to play the grandmother in the movie, and she's a very famous actress, and we'd like to kill the dad so we can give her more lines. And I said, well, who's the actress? And they said, it's Julie Andrews. And I went, oh, okay, we'll kill the dad. That's fine. So it was just funny things like that kept happening, and then it was kind of unbelievable, but it finally all came together, and I got to go to the premiere and meet everyone, and everyone was just so nice. It was really exciting. It was a great experience. So I loved every minute of it. But I know there are some authors who get very upset when people change things from the books, but I was not one of those people. I was super excited about it.
Like in the movie Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't upset because I thought everything they did made sense, and also I was just so excited to go and meet these great actors and actresses.
So before the interview, you told me that you pronounce your last name like Habit. So what kind of things did you do that are habit forming?
Oh my gosh, I have a lot of bad habits. Some of them involve chocolate. I eat way too much chocolate, and I love caffeine, and I'm not a huge exerciser. I don't like to exercise too much. Walking is my biggest exercise. I love to ride a bike, though. I don't drive a car, so I somehow never managed to get my license because I don't like to study for tests. You have to study very hard for the driving test. So, there's a little accent here, just ignore that. So some of those are some of my worst habits, but I try to make my best habit, which is that I love to write, and that's always been my hobby, and my friends and family have always said, oh my gosh, Meg, you need to get outside and get more fresh air. You have to stop writing so much. Actually, I've turned that habit into my best asset, which is that now I do that for a living. So
you've written over 80 books, and you've published them in the UK, Germany, and France. Which country do you feel like has the most and the best fans?
Well, I guess it's hard to say because I have so many amazing readers throughout the world. In the U.S. is where it kind of all began, and I've had so many enthusiastic readers have been writing to me since 2000. This is actually the 15th anniversary of the publication of the first Princess Diaries in the U.S. And readers have just been so loyal and supportive. But the book is actually been embraced by countries all over the world. Right now, I hear from fans in Brazil, probably the most, and I will be going there in October for a big book tour as well. So I'm very excited about that, and I really can't say that there's not, one country that's not more supportive than the others, but I do have to say that in Brazil, you get a lot of really excited fans who cry when they meet you, and they're weeping, but then when they lift up their cell phone to take a selfie with me, they immediately stop crying, which I find very funny. And then as soon as the cell phone goes back down, they stop crying. They start crying again, so it's very funny.
Who do you base your writings off of, like a particular writer?
I try to, and I think everybody, when they're first starting out writing, like I started my writing career when I was first starting out. I was 11, and I'd just seen Star Wars. That was my favorite movie, the very first one, and I wrote Star Wars fan fiction. And I think when you're just starting out writing, a lot of times people start writing fan fiction. But then when you get a little bit older, you want to start creating your own worlds and using your own voice. So I think writing fan fiction is great, but I think eventually if you really want to be serious and have your own career, you do have to kind of make up your own world and use your own voice.
Okay, so I heard you can name all 50 states alphabetically in under 30 seconds. Can you do that?
I can try. It's been a little while since I've done it. Let me start. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin. It's the last one. Wyoming. What?
Okay, so what advice do you have for young and aspiring authors?
I think if you want to be a writer, one thing that I highly recommend is reading a lot. Just read whatever you want, the books that you enjoy. I think reading graphic novels, comic strips, the newspaper, magazines, anything you can get your hands on is a good idea. And then write a lot. Write the kind of books that you want to read, that you enjoy. Don't let anybody tell you kind of what you should be writing. If something's trendy, I don't think you should necessarily follow that trend because it could change any minute. So just keep writing what you enjoy. And I always recommend that if you can, turn off the internet while you're writing because it can be very distracting to keep looking up all those kind of fun videos and looking at your friends' texts and emails and stuff. So look out for that.
What has been your favorite book to write?
I love all my books equally while I'm writing them, and then once I'm done writing them, I hate them all equally because I'm so bored with those characters and I want to move on to something new. But then once I go back to them, like especially if it's a series, I love them again. So it's I think it's like any job that while you're doing it, you're interested and you love it, but then it's great to have some time off and take a little vacation from it, and then go back to it again. You get excited about it.
If you could go back in time and give a younger you advice, what would you say?
I think that is so stressful. At least I found it very stressful being in school, and there's all this pressure to get great grades, and I did very badly in school in a lot of subjects. I was very bad at math. My dad was a math professor, so that was really horrible. And my parents valued English and writing and stuff, but they didn't think it was something you could really do as a profession, which is funny because that is what I do now. So I think that people should try not to stress too much about grades, even though I know it's really hard. I know that a lot of people, have anxiety disorders and stuff about school and grades, and I do think that I would go back and tell myself, you know what, it's going to be okay. Even if you don't, get straight A's, even if you do get an F in algebra, things are going to turn out okay.
Were your parents surprised when you became a writer?
No, I don't think that they were surprised. I think that maybe now, of course, they say, well, we always knew it was going to happen, but I'm not so sure that's necessarily true, but I think that they're super, super proud of me now.
Is there anything else? Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, now you can see why I